Welcome to another exciting episode of eThekwini Matters podcast. I'm your host, Simphiwe Dlamini. Today we are joined by the chairperson of Human Settlements, Engineering and Transport Committee, Councillor Themba Mvubu. Councillor Mvubu will be unpacking the roles and responsibilities of this committee, but will also dive deep into the Inner City Road Rehabilitation Program. Councillor Mvubu, welcome to the show.
No, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your viewers at home, Mr. Dlamini, and thank you for having us.
You are the chairperson of Human Settlements, Engineering and Transport Committee. Can you briefly tell us about the roles and responsibilities of this committee?
No, thank you very much again, and thank you for having us. Yes, indeed, I'm the chairperson of this committee. Mine is to, or the role of the committee rather, is to play oversight in this committee, which is responsible for a number of directorates, which includes your human settlement, your engineering, your roads directorates, and your real estates. But of course, we play political oversight. On the administrative side, there is the executive director, which is Mr. Ednick Msweli, who's responsible for the day-to-day running of the administration side of the committee.
So, as the chairperson, when did you assume responsibilities?
Wow, I can't remember exactly, but I think it's over approaching 2 years now. Because you remember, I was once there before when the cluster was still inclusive of water and sanitation and electricity, and then after this things happened, and then we came back when the cluster was split into two. So now we are responsible for those three, if not four functions, which, as I've said, is your human settlement, is your road, your eThekwini Transport Authority, I think I didn't mention that, and also the real estate component of it.
So, as the chairperson of the committee, what do you do? What is your responsibility as the chair?
Well, look, as the chair, mine is to ensure that, number one, we do comply with the rules of order as adopted by the council. That we must have monthly meetings as the committee to sit down and interrogate and process reports. Make recommendations thereafter to the executive committee, which subsequently gets to go to council, full council, for the adoption of those resolutions, so that we can then be able to implement the programs or the projects that we have adopted as the committee.
So you meet monthly, you meet every week. How often do you meet as a committee to make sure that you process these
reports?
Yeah.
Well, we meet monthly. It's mandatory that we must meet on a monthly basis. But of course, it does happen sometimes that we will call for a special sitting, depending on the agency of the matters that need to be processed at the committee level, so that we'll be able to miss the deadline for those reports to go to executive committee before going to full council. So I will say, yeah, we meet on a monthly basis, but as I've said, it depends. Sometimes we do call for special sittings if need arises.
So you've mentioned that you've been in this position now for over 2 years. What are some of the things that we'll say has been the highlight of the achievement of the committee? Just maybe mention a few since you assumed office.
Well, look, we are responsible for human settlement, as I've said. While we accept and acknowledge this, The co-function of human settlement rests with the province and as well as with the national. But we, as a metro here in KwaZulu-Natal, we do implement those projects on behalf of the provincial and national government. I mean, just a couple of weeks back, I must say, one is relieved and delighted. It's an ongoing program which critics will argue that's why did it take so long, but I'm delighted to report that we're able to relocate some families who were victims of floods to Konopia housing projects, 113 of them. Which I think is a step in the right direction. Remember, when we don't provide permanent homes for these victims, the states, or government, as it were, has a responsibility to host them or pay for them to these temporarily emergency accommodations, and this costs millions of rand, to keep them there. So then we were able to achieve this, one was very relieved, to see, and there are so many what you call save sites that are currently underway. Because we know that we are looking at about 1,200, if not more, of those victims. But of course, with human settlement, it really gets to depend on the monies that one gets to get from these spheres of government, as I was indicating. So if we get so much, then we are able to build more, that's not only parts that one is able to deal with in terms of human settlement. There are 111 wards in the city of eThekwini, and each and every one of them, there are housing projects that are currently underway. There are road rehabilitation projects that are currently underway. We have been able to restore so many roads that were damaged during the April floods, and we were able to build bridges that were damaged by the flood. I mean, all of us, we must recall, unfortunately, we live in a coastal city, so we are very prone to these heavy floods, from time to time. I mean, I was saying the other day, hardly 3 months go by without eThekwini gets to experience those the unfortunate heavy rains, which gets to destroy our infrastructure.
We've seen you opening new community residential units in the Bluff, in Umlazi, KwaMakhuza. Can you please tell us more about those achievements?
Yeah, so under human settlement, there is also a component whereby it's headed by the deputy head of human settlement, Ms. Smangele Muloi, which gets to deal with the refurbishment of hostels. It deals with the rental stocks. Sorry, just slipped my mind. So there is a projects, or other projects that are currently ended. We're currently underway. One is the one that we just mentioned. It's called Donnelly Road Housing Projects in Bluff, where we were able to complete those rental stock. I think it's yielded about, if I'm not mistaken, just over 60 housing opportunities for working class, because they are rental stocks. But the rental is way minimal compared to what you normally pay for if you were to just go and look for a flat, under normal circumstances. So those are, one of the progressive and proud moments whereby we are able to achieve such under human settlement, because there are some people that don't necessarily qualify for the breaking new grounds, which is commonly known as your RDP houses, but they cannot again afford to qualify for bonds. And some of them, they really don't want to be permanent residents of the city. They're just here because they are currently working in the city. But come retirement age or time, or maybe when they find other opportunities in another city, then they leave. So you find there's these rental stocks. They come in handy for such people.
We've also witnessed the transformation of Dalton Hostel. You know, the rooms there have been improved. Even the surrounding around the hostel has been improved as well.
Absolutely. You remember, hostels, by their nature, they were just compounds, basically, were of the apartheid spatial arrangement or planning, where human beings were just dumped basically there, and disposed easily there by the apartheid government. So in eSekwini, we have about 10 of hostels around the city. So then again, you are correct, there is a drive to rejuvenate them, refurbish them, and convert them into family-friendly units. As you saw, we went for an oversight there in Dalton, and Kwamakutsa Hostel as well, where they are converted into those family dignified units. So those are some of the projects that get to happen under human settlement in eSekwini.
Now I want us to move to engineering and roads now.
Yeah.
Which is another big component of your committee. There's a number of projects. One big project that you guys are busy with right now is the inner city road rehabilitation project. Can you please tell us about that program?
Look, I'm actually, when I speak about that one, I want to gloat because it just really speaks to what is close and dear to me and my heart. In fact, when you speak about those projects, it's also from parts of the is it M4. M4 South, inbound and outbound going to Umlazi, which I think was concluded. It's either late last year. It's one of the busy roads that we have around the city. So I was having a conversation with the colleagues under Roads Directorate, and I said to them, colleagues, if we really want to say a particular town or a particular city has really collapsed, you don't need to drive far. You don't need to go to the location, whether you're coming from, the airport or wherever. You just need to look at the states of the CPD roads of that particular town, and it will tell the whole story. So then I said to them, I want us to have a vigorous drive. Not that we are neglecting other roads in other areas, but I just want us to have a deliberate drive to surfaced and repair all the CBD roads around the city. And I'm delighted that it's one of the flagship programs that are currently underway in the city.
Yeah. Last week, we've seen you doing an oversight on the biggest and the busiest streets in the CBD, which is Doxa, Prixiga, Isaiah Street. Can you tell us more about the progress that is being that is unfolding there?
Yeah, no, thanks. We correctly so we went there last week. We had to go in the evening there because we did not want to disturb the traffic and everything else, because it's a busy road. Many people maybe will not know of my age. Doxa, Pixley, Kaisagaseme is what used to be called West Street. So it's one of the busy roads that we have around the city. So we had to conduct oversight there in the evening with with everyone else that was there, the officials, and luckily even I think the contractor was there, if I'm not mistaken. And I was having a chat with the guys, the officials, and they were saying, Chair, we were so delighted when we realized that the budget was passed. That's number one, because though it has started, I think there was an allocation of about 5 million for Doxa. Pixley, Kaisaga Seme, to just start the projects. But of course, when you speak about roads, 5 million was not really going to go far. So then an additional amount of 21 million, if I'm not mistaken, was allocated for it, so that they will be able to continue. So we were very happy, and with the progress and the work that has been done on the ground. We started there at the beginning of the road, there by I think it's China City or China Mall, and then all the way up we passed the City Hall. So this is where the contractor is, there by SARS. So they are delighted. Everyone is happy. I'm happy myself. This is actually moving with the necessary speed, and seemingly there is capacity there, because they are working like day and night to make sure that they push these projects.
Yeah. So you are basically redoing the whole of West Street from the market up until
Point.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've skipped the portion from, I think it's called Gardner. You will forgive me because I will refer them with this old name that I recall, between Gardner and the City Hall. And then from there, from the City Hall onward, they are doing the milling, and they are doing the resurfacing, of the road.
Yeah, but that's not the only road in the CBD that is currently being upgraded.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There are many. The Soldiers Way also there is work. This is currently being done there. We used to call it Victoria Embankment. I don't know what they call it now. There is also work that is being done there. Umgeni Road, there is work that is being done there. So it's a deliberate a program to rejuvenate all these CBD, or as you call it, inner city road, inner city rejuvenation program, to make sure that we enhance our roads, for easy movements of vehicles and people, so that we can be able to give a facelift, as it were, in the CBD, yeah.
But something also that you were very vocal about is the fact that as much as this work is outsourced, but majority of it is being done by the internal teams.
Yeah, look, I remember I went to Alpine Road by Stamford Hill, if I'm not mistaken, by the DUT Alpine Road, the name of this road. I was so impressed. We have a highest concentration, by the way, many people don't know this, of qualified engineers under eThekwini Roads Directorate. Qualified engineers. So meaning that there is internal capacity. They were explaining everything. As when they mill, that's old tire, they don't really dispose of it. They get to store it in their storages, and they are able to use it sometime for backfilling. When you see road work being done, whether there was a best pipe on the road, and the teams come and they fix, they leave a hole there. So they use the same material sometimes to do backfilling. So I was impressed, because all this work that we are talking about, of course, is done by our guys internally using our own yellow plant. I would like to see more of that happening, to be honest, because as you know, the party that deployed me, which is the Economic Freedom Fighters, they believe in the building of states' capacities, which therefore will eventually lead to the abolishment of tenders, which is under Cardinal Pillar number 3. So if we build our own internal capacity, because we do have capabilities, men and women with expertise under roads directorates who are able to do that. I mean, that is just but one of many examples to prove that we are able to do for ourselves. Of course, the plant is expensive, but we should push to that direction so that we are able to do more of these roadworks for ourselves.
In closing, Councillor Mvubu, we are in the process of passing and adopting the budget for the new financial year. What can people of eThekwini can look forward to, especially from your committee?
We actually have passed the budget. We get quite a decent allocation, of the budget, because our committee is service delivery oriented. I always say that we are responsible for roads, we are responsible for human settlement, we are responsible for ETA, real estate, and so on and so forth, those tangible things. So a commitment will be that we will respect and use imali yabahlali ngendlela ekufanele siyisebenzise ngayo. Respect their wishes because they get to speak to this budget during our road shows and adoption of IDPs. So we are quite capable. We've been there for, I don't know, as I said, 3 if you combine the previous year in this position. So no scandals, nothing. We are just focusing on the work at hand. So they must be able to trust us because we have a proven track record. That's when we are giving monies, we are able to deliver on the commitments. We have a very good team, I must say. This one is working with assisting in implementing all these programs and projects that we commit when we go to our communities. That's we are going to deliver on them.
Well, Councillor Mvubu, we thank you for your time.
Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you again to the viewers at home. Siyabonga.
Well, that's all we had for you in this episode of eThekwini Matters podcast with Councillor Mvubu, who's the chairperson of Human Settlements, Engineering and Transport Authority Committee. Have a good evening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.